This thing is the size of my head, seriously. Hey guys, after so impressions from Sonos IP camera, the Slim Cam, I'm actually quite glad to look at another Imou product. Why? Because so far every time I'm looking at Imou camera, they actually deliver pretty consistent performance and a product that I'm inherently happy with. And even though some of them might not have the features I want, the selection from Imou is actually so big that I have no doubt that you will end up finding a camera with a specification that you are after. So today we have another camera which aims for outdoors, and this is Imou Cruiser 4MP, where 4MP stands for 4 megapixels, as this is, well, coincidentally, a sensor size. I have a confession to make. I was testing the camera for about 2 months now. Well, we're gonna call it testing because I left the camera outside for 2 months staring at the bird feeder and monitoring the birds eating the feed. I definitely know that it's great for outdoors because it was raining quite heavily that time. And I have to say that I'm in favor of putting cameras like this only outside because, well, you don't have to really worry about the privacy as much, unlike with the cameras that aim to be used indoors, where privacy concerns and all the policies, it's a nightmare. So if you are looking for the camera that is going to monitor everything that is on the other side of the building wall, well, the Cruiser 4MP is actually a solid option. Let's start from the beginning and see what's inside the box. Apart from the camera, which is, by the way, quite massive, you'll find a mounting bracket which can go either underneath the roof or on the wall or even on a pole. You'll find also templates to attach it, and that's pretty much it. Oh, by the way, there is a power brick as well, obviously you want that connected. As you probably guessed it from the form factor, this is a pan and tilt camera with increased resolution, so you can get up to 2K of streaming content, which is nice to have, especially in the outdoor situation when that range of what you're looking at will matter. Now, 2 antennas are obviously going to reveal that this is a Wi-Fi connected camera using 2.4 GHz network. Unfortunately, despite having these beautiful and big antennas, 5 GHz, it's nowhere to be seen. But it's not the only way you can connect to this camera, because it comes with a Ethernet adapter, so you can actually hardwire it with support for PoE, so Power over Ethernet. In the proper mounting configuration, meaning upside down, the camera can turn around 355 degrees and 90 degrees down, covering pretty much everything up to the level of the camera. So if you are mounting it somewhere, make sure it's quite high, otherwise the camera can't really reach above the white cover. Now, inside you will find the support for the SD cards up to 256 gigs, and two-way conversation is also possible on this unit because it has a microphone and quite loud speaker. I'm going to showcase that in a second. Lastly, to deal with intruders, it has a siren which is up to 110 decibel, which is actually quite loud, and quite bright LEDs that will, well, scare off the intruders and provide you with a color vision at night. And if the color vision at night isn't your thing, you also have a infrared based night vision. So that's all about the camera. Let's talk about the audio and the video performance. Alright, audio and video, which is probably important, right? So you've got that 2K or wide quad HD, or whatever you're gonna call it. It's an increased resolution from the usual 1080p, which, well, it's useful in outdoor settings. Now you have options for HDR image, which will help you in a difficult lighting situation, like when you're filming against the sun. But the sensor itself has a quite nice dynamic range, so even on a sunny day, shadows are nicely exposed, and you'll be able to figure out what's lurking in the shadows. What's really good about this camera, it probably gets better over the Ethernet cable as well, I was using it mostly over the Wi-Fi, is the compression. Actually, the screen compression, well, it's almost non-existent, even when moving the camera around, which is always a problem on some of the cameras that I've discussed in the past. And even in my torturous scenario, when I would point the camera at the shaking in the wind trees, which would, well, result in a lot of compression, the stream is really nice. Which means if the video is artifact free, you shouldn't have any problems zooming in and figure out, for example, the registration plate of a vehicle parked around 30 to 40 meters away from the camera, which is alright. At night, a similar story. If you don't have access to any lighting at all, either build in LEDs, they will illuminate the first 5 to 7 meters and provide color-based night vision, which is awesome. Color-based night vision works great if you have a street lighting, but if you're pointing the camera at the pitch black area, just switch to infrared and you'll have a really nice picture as well. What deserves a mention, even though the grill at the back hiding a speaker isn't particularly big, the speaker on this thing is very loud. So if you are having two-way conversations, well, they're gonna hear you even if the camera is mounted quite high up. And the microphone isn't bad either, so you should be able to hear pretty much everything what's going on around you, so take that to your advantage.
And in a bench you can always use the built-in speaker to talk to people, either to let them know what's going on, or to scare them off.
Which leads me to another thing, which is a built-in siren, which, well, it has a 110 decibels. Actually, it doesn't sound like 110 decibels, but I'll trust the judgment and measurements because I don't have anything to verify it. It's loud enough to be annoying and to scare off anyone that wanders into Arya. We know this thing can record things, but can it detect humans and motion? Yes, it can. So it comes with a separate detection for humans and 5 levels of sensitivity for detecting motion. Now, this is probably the weakest point of the product, the motion detector. Even at detection sensitivity 1 set to motion sensor, it was constantly triggering on either leaves moving or bugs flying into the field of the camera, especially at night when the infrared is enabled, consistently filling up detection notifications. It's not ideal, but Imou app provides you with several options to actually trim this behavior. So you'll be able to set the schedule in which detection is being activated. You will also be able to set a zone in which motion detection will be activated. And obviously, if you select that detection type to humans, that should filter out a lot of this noise. So you can turn the Cruiser 4MP into a pretty decent human detection device, however it makes it a very poor bird watcher. Well, that's okay because it's probably not intended the purpose. Now, what's interesting is that's not the only options that you've got available. Imou has come up with a new subscription plan, which is AI enabled. It means that your footage is going to be passed over to cloud, analyzed, and then spit out with additional AI tags. That will allow you to actually set your detection triggers to cars, parcels, and pets. And you'll get custom notifications informing you that, for example, a courier is incoming to your door and you should pay attention, which is very handy. The feature is in beta right now and I haven't tried it myself, but you should give it a go, especially that it isn't very expensive. The pricing plans are going to be on the screen right now, so check it out. And while we're speaking about the app, actually Imou app is pretty well designed and I have no problems. The main screen allows you to preview up to 4 cameras at the same time, so you have a perfect clarity of what's going on. Now you can browse the cloud storage or storage on the SD card easily, with all the events and static recording being mapped on the timeline, which is easy to find. If you're storing your recordings on the SD card, bear in mind that if you're going to set the option to a high definition, that's gonna fill up your card really quickly. I had no problem of filling up the 8 gig card within a day, so bear that in mind. Either pick a standard option or invest and buy yourself a really decent SD card. But cloud and SD card aren't the only options. You can also use NVR. Imou-based NVR will get you the easiest setup experience because it will simply just work without getting into much detail. However, Imou fails to provide you with extra documentation information how to use the NVR with third-party hardware, even though it's possible, so I've included those in my article. You'll find a link in the description of this video. In short, you'll have to generate a link that contains security information specific to your camera, and you'll be able to use that link to link it to your NVR setup. I've used VLC for testing and it works quite well. In a pinch, you can use the mobile app to record whatever is on the screen right now or whatever is in a timeline and save it to your phone. Now, before the files become available on your phone, you'll have to export them from the app, which is extra step, and I wish that wasn't really a case, but it is what it is. And as the Imou app comes with relevant skills for Alexa and Google Home, I've tested those as well with Amazon Speaker. Now, it connects within 5 to 7 seconds and I'll be able to see the stream. However, there are a couple of issues that I would like Imou to address. First of all, the stream is limited to 1080p. Even if you pinch and zoom, which is possible, you will end up with 1080p stream with no details whatsoever, and you can't change the resolution to take advantage of that 2K streaming. Second of all, the stream loads in about 5 to 7 seconds, which is acceptable, but the delay persists, which makes conversation over the smart speakers difficult, because you'll have to wait until that information is being transferred on the other end and the other person replies, etc, etc. So that delay is only present via skill. There is no delay whatsoever if you're using an app, so if you want to have a conversation with someone else on the other side of your camera, you probably want to use the app instead. How much for all that goodness? Imou asks you for £99.99, and it's available on Amazon, Currys and Amazon US in different currency obviously, which is okay price, I guess. Don't worry if that price point is out of your budget though, because Imou seriously have several different cameras in different configurations that you can look at if you're looking for something more budget. I'm going to link the camera and the stores in the description of this video so you could take a look. Now, every time I'm reviewing Imou camera, I honestly end up with a pretty decent experience, so I would expect you to have a similar experience with the brand as well. As for now, guys, well, first of all, thanks Imou for sending me this so I could have a look and tell you all about it. And I do not have a posting schedule, so if you want to know what's next, then, well, you know how YouTube works, I'm not going to explain any of that. But I have a couple of social media accounts that you probably want to follow if you want to keep the conversation going, share interesting links, etc. As for now, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.